Hey there, and welcome to Tech Talk here on WDBO 107.3 FM and AM 580, Orlando's news and talk. I'm Greg Rhodes here with David Leavitt, president and founder of Refresh Computer Superstore, and technician Adam Littlefield. You can contact the Refresh Computer Superstore by calling their free tech support hotline at 407-478-8200. Or if you have any other comments during the show, go and leave an open mic inside the WDBO app. You can also check out their website over at refreshcomputers.net, or you can always stop in at the Refresh Computer Superstore in Longwood at 820 East State Road 434, just 3.5 miles east of I-4 in Longwood. Store hours are Monday through Saturday, 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. If you're listening to the show here on Saturday, it means you have time to still stop by. They'll be open until 7 p.m. today. And now, the men themselves, David Leavitt and Adam Littlefield.
All right. Thanks, Greg, and thanks, everybody, for listening to yet another edition of Tech Talk with Refresh Computers. And first, I want to say Merry Christmas to everybody. It's coming up. Christmas will be here before our next show.
Before we even know it, Mike.
Oh, yeah. This year has flown by.
It's gone by so fast. And, and I'll just give a little bit of hint on what the next show is going to be about. Not this one, but the next one. So the end of the year show will be basically the year in review and electronics and stuff like that. So stay tuned for that next week. But this week we're going to talk about a whole bunch of stuff. And Adam, thanks for putting together the show notes as you always do. And you did a really good job again, as always. And, you have a whole bunch of stuff to talk about here. But I'm going to dive down like in the middle of these notes because I want to get to the supercomputer build that we just did. The customer picked up yesterday or just a few days ago.
Yesterday.
And this computer, just to pat ourselves on the back a little bit. And Casper, our store manager, is the one who actually did this build for this customer. And it was a $55,000 computer, one computer. Now, I'm not talking about a whole rack full of equipment. I'm not talking about, just a big giant box. I'm talking about a box that's the size of a large gaming computer tower, right? And a $55,000 build. And it's like, if you're wondering how in the heck can somebody spend $55,000 on a computer, well, I'm going to tell you how.
Yeah. Because it could have been a lot worse from what I understand too, right?
Oh, so, with we've been talking for weeks about the increase in RAM prices shooting up. If he would have waited until now to have the computer built, this $55,000 computer would have been a $67,000 computer because of the increased price of RAM that's shot up that much in the last month or so since we started the build for this customer. So some of the key components is a Ryzen Threadripper Pro CPU. This CPU is a 96-core CPU. So if you know anything about computers,
outrageous.
How ridiculously crazy that is.
To give you an idea, most processors in your home computer has maybe 6 to 8, I'd say.
6 to 8
average.
6 to 8 cores in the processors is probably today. You get 12 maybe.
Yeah.
Core computer is considered a really decent CPU today, but this one is it's like a $12,000 or $13,000 CPU just for the CPU. So and it's so crazy is that I learned something new, and we were talking about it before we started the show, and that is the fact that it comes with a special torque wrench, too, a little tiny torque wrench.
A pressure-regulated one.
A pressure-regulated one. So to make sure that you seat that CPU exactly right with the, if you're a mechanic out there, you know what a torque wrench is all about, right?
Follow that sequence, yep.
And you have to follow a certain sequence with the screws that you're screwing down with that torque wrench that comes with the CPU, and you have to turn it at them until you hear like a click.
Little click, that's
you hear a little click, and it's just right. So it's got to be seated just perfectly inside that computer. It's crazy.
I can almost appreciate that kind of design because if you're installing like a $12,000-$13,000 CPU into a computer, you want to do it right, and you want to do it right the first time. Because if you mess it up,
you're probably not going to get a second chance.
Exactly. There's no, I have to buy another. It's a couple $100. No, this is thousands of dollars for this kind of processor.
No kidding, and that would have been on us.
Yeah.
not the customer. And certainly, and this is why we trust Casper to do these kinds of
Exactly.
things for us because he's just he's just a pro at this kind of stuff. So,
But this computer was a monster too, because I'd say most of our computers at the store right now have 16 gigs of RAM. That's a pretty much
that's
a standard anymore.
pretty much standard.
This
yeah.
computer we built with 1 terabyte. 1 terabyte is 1,000 gigabytes. There's and again, we're talking about RAM shortages these past couple of weeks. Maybe
there it is.
Maybe there it is.
And just so the motherboard alone that we had to buy for this customer, the motherboard alone has to be capable of holding all those RAM sticks too.
And how many channels of RAM were a part of this build?
I can't even remember. It was something astronomical.
We'd have to ask Casper.
Yeah.
But I think each RAM stick was, I want to say 128 gig RAM sticks.
Wow.
And 128 gig RAM sticks. So it would have been, basically
about 10 of them. I think.
10 of those
Yeah.
in there. And that was contributed greatly to the cost of this. And if we're going to get into a few more components of this $55,000 computer, but before we do, you're probably wondering, but geez, what the heck does somebody use a computer like that for?
That was the very next question I had.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I want to tell you that it's a secret. Unfortunately, we're sworn to secrecy, with this customer. We cannot tell. But I will tell you, it's for a really super project. I know what the project is, and it's just awesome what this guy does with this computer, because 3 years ago we built him like a $30,000 computer, and so this is his upgrade.
Yeah.
So he can keep developing the software and the things that he's doing. It's the software development, and he's developing this utility, and it just that's as far as much as I can.
I'm not going to push you any further because I don't want you to have to disclose and
we
ruin your
even
NDA.
I even asked Casper, hey, do you think we can get the guy on the show so he can talk about it? No.
That's what I was going to say. Maybe one day we can. The FBI will allow him to come on the show with us.
It's a cool thing though. It's something that I never knew anybody else that does it. It's one of those really unique things.
It is, and so the guy is just he's an awesome guy too. I'll throw that out there. And so, how about storage?
96 terabytes of storage in that computer as well.
I feel like most of this podcast is just going to be me giggling in the background. Oh my goodness.
96 terabytes of storage. So typical computer today sold with 256 gigabytes, about a quarter of a terabyte, right?
Yep.
So this has 96 terabytes of storage. And so, again, you have to have the right components. It's like, how in the heck do you even put 96 terabytes of storage into a computer, And so this has, do the math, they're all 8 terabyte.
8 terabytes. I believe we have
NVMEs.
to put adapter cards into some of the high-speed lanes on the motherboard. So
in order
those
to
could
hold all the
communicate.
storage.
Yeah.
And so it's just a crazy, crazy build, and I love seeing that
things like that,
being built. And
right.
The processor alone, I've known of Threadripper for a long time, even when I was graduating high school all the way back in 2016. And Threadripper back then was like, the end-all, be-all processor for anything.
Made by AMD.
Exactly. Yeah, you needed something strong, powerful that can do anything. That was the processor. And now, just seeing where they're at, 96 cores, is just ridiculous to me. I can't even begin to understand why you would need that many cores besides, the software the gentleman's using on it.
Well, he's developed. Yeah,
Right.
he actually developed the software.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah, and it's just a super, super cool computer, and we love it. And hey, if you need a $55,000 computer,
I'm sure I know the guys that would be able to help you out with that.
Yeah, we can help you with yours.
But even if it's not a $55,000 computer, I know you
my
guys do a
next
lot
point.
of custom builds
We do.
as well. How much of your business is actually building custom computers?
It's not a great amount. That the majority of our business is selling and servicing refurbished computers, and we have a big chunk of our business is servicing computers as well. But we do quite a few custom builds for people all the time, usually for gaming. Somebody wants a gaming computer build. We fix people's gaming computers they tried to build.
Either that or something just says I turned it off and blew out the dust and now it doesn't turn back on.
Somebody didn't turn that torque wrench quite right.
Yeah, I can't tell you how many times we got a call from a mom saying, "Oh, my son had me buy all these parts." She said, "Mom, if you buy all the parts, I can put the computer together. It'll be cheaper." And, well, it doesn't work. So we're trying to figure out what's going on. We'll bring it all into the store. And I think we charge, $150 to do a custom build for somebody?
It depends. Normally on parts,
fee.
It's anywhere from, I think, $100 to $150. But it's still way better than having to just start buying new parts because you think something's broken.
Well, and then it's put together right. It's tested right. Everything is working well. And it's a very small fee.
Yeah.
That is not
no,
much. To put together somebody's gaming computer?
Yeah. Most gaming computer companies I've seen before, ones that focus only on building them, selling them, and they're pre-built. You'll hear that term, pre-built gaming computer. They charge, I believe it's about a 30% markup on whatever the parts are, plus the cost of labor on that. So you're looking at about $300 with those companies just for assembly labor. They don't test it normally. They normally slap parts together, make sure it turns on, and that's it. It's out their door. We put ours, I believe, through a 12-hour stress test normally.
Oh yeah.
Once we do an assembly.
They're tested and they're left on for an extended period of time to make sure there's no memory leaks and stuff like that going on in the computer because you never know. And so this computer, what kind of video card? I don't see that in there. Do you remember?
I believe they were data center based cards. They were
data
RTX
center
5000s, I think.
Yeah, but with the ADA cards, I think, which are the self-learning video GPU cards. So they.
Really good
another very expensive component, and I don't remember how much they were, but they were in the thousands of dollars. But anyhow, so this was a really, really cool computer, and I'm just so proud that this gentleman trusted somebody like Refresh Computers like us,
and he trusted you again.
Trusted us again. This is actually I think the third build we've done for him. We did the original one many years ago. I don't remember how much that one was. And then the last one 2 or 3 years ago for $30-some thousand, and this was and one of the reasons that the price was so high this time was because the memory prices had gone up, and like I mentioned, if you would have waited another month, it would have been $12,000 more because of all that memory in there. 1 terabyte of RAM. I mean that's a lot of RAM and very expensive.
Of the shortages too. Now there's news that NVIDIA, big company that does graphics cards, are going to be cutting production of their mid-range cards by up to 40% now.
And mid-range meaning the cards they build that you buy at the box store to build your gaming computer.
The ones that are affordable, that you're not using for AI, deep learning, none of that. You're not spending $1,000 on that card. You're spending
so basically your typical gaming computer video card is they're cutting back on the production of those because it's a huge company, of course, NVIDIA. Is it the most valuable company?
I think it's the most now, yeah.
I know they hit that landmark several months ago, but, for them to cut production on what's obviously a very profitable part of their business, and the reason would be because they're all the things that they can produce, all the time that they have to make, and all the material that they can get their hands on are dedicated to these AI centers.
And that's the problem, is that's exactly what they're doing. That 40% cut is to keep this material for their AI data center cards instead.
I want to look at something too, if we get some time, Adam, and that is, where are these AI data centers going? I keep hearing about all these AI data centers, but I haven't seen or heard. I mean, there's probably out there, or maybe they don't want anybody to know where they're being built.
I think that's a big part of it too. You hear some about it going on, and I believe in the Northeast, I've heard some stuff going on, like in New Jersey and things like that. But you also hear a lot about the power the consumption that they need behind it. So they're going in areas that have already strong power grids. But that's also where I think we've talked about this a couple times, where they're coming back with those mini nuclear plants, or becoming an idea.
Fusion plants. Yeah,
and now the new investment, even from the Trump Truth Social group, now making a major investment into
that merger. It's all connected with AI.
Absolutely.
I saw that Truth Social merging with this fusion company, Energy Fusion. I was like, what?
A $6 billion merger is what they're calling it. So.
Hey, I guess good for the investors in that that Trump media company.
They've figured out something. There's a path there somewhere that they're trying to figure out. And we'll continue talking a little bit about more on this progression of the AI data centers and maybe a little bit more about this amazing PC build. You're listening to Tech Talk right here on WDBO 107.3 FM and AM 580. Hey there, and welcome back to Tech Talk here on WDBO 107.3 FM and AM 580, Orlando's news and talk. I'm Greg Rhodes here with David Leavitt, president and founder of Refresh Computer Superstore, and technician Adam Littlefield. You can contact the Refresh Computer Superstore by calling their free tech support hotline at 407-478-8200, or if you have any comments about those great PC builds that we were talking about just a little while ago, use that open mic feature inside the WDBO app. And now, back to David and Adam.
All right, thanks everybody, and reminder that if you missed any part of the show or if you want to recap what we talked about, you can go to refreshcomputers.net, click on that podcast link at the top of the page there, and you can hear the show in its entirety. It's about 40 minutes long, and it's usually posted there sometime in the late afternoon on Saturdays. So if you missed any of the show, if you want to recap, that's how you do it. That's how you listen to it. Just go to refreshcomputers.net, click on that podcast link, and if you want to be reminded that the show is available for you to listen to, subscribe to our newsletter. So just go to the bottom of any page at refreshcomputers.net. It's just a simple little box right down there at the bottom. All you have to do is put in your email address, and that's it. Done. And you're subscribed to receive the notifications in the email about the podcast being live, and also the weekly deals that we do. Typically every Monday morning at 7 a.m. you would also get an email letting you know what the deals are for the following week. So you might not want to miss that, because you would be the first to know. You would typically be the first to find out any deals that go out in that Monday 7 a.m. newsletter. So again, at the bottom of any page at refreshcomputers.net, you can sign up for that. So we were talking about the super build that we did, a $55,000 computer for a customer, and all the components that went inside. That kind of led us talking about AI, and led us talking about, where are these data centers being built? Right. And we keep hearing about it, and we know that they take up all this energy. And then, during the break, we were having a side conversation, and I'm like, guys, this should be on the show. This is a side conversation, right? We should be talking about this. And Elon was saying maybe maybe build these in space.
Yes.
And because you don't have to worry about the cooling so much, because, these super AI data centers take, the extreme amount of power, and a lot of that
so much of that energy is coming from.
Yeah, and a lot of that power that's required is for cooling these components off and these supercomputers that they build. And so you don't typically wouldn't have that issue, right, if they're out in space. Nice and cool,
like you mentioned, the vacuum of space. I know we've talked a lot about the moon coming up soon. I know we've got Artemis 2 coming up at the beginning of 2026, where they're gonna orbit the moon for the first time since the 70s with a manned spacecraft. So it's going to be pretty impressive going on there, and maybe one day colonization there. That would be a great spot to start, I would think.
Yeah, and if they can build these supercomputers in space, then the question I had is, well, okay, that's great, but
how do we get the power there? Right.
Power is one with solar, right? But how do you get the data here?
No,
that's true. How do you get it here in a timely fashion too? Because I know we've received deep space transmissions before from satellites we have out there,
Voyager 1,
millions of miles, and it takes months to get a little byte of data that distance. And if you've experienced slow internet before, imagine having to wait 34 years to get one single skip of the Netflix show that you're watching. That's what it would be accountable to.
Well, and the data shortage is the RAM shortage is continuing. I guess we'll be talking about this for a while, because it's getting worse and worse, right, Adam?
We had talked about the big names last week of all of production, and I know SK Hynix was one of them, and I know right now they're discussing that possibly we're gonna be seeing these shortages until probably mid-2028 now. We were projecting, this will be a couple months, maybe a good majority of just next year, but Now we have one of the big names saying, "Oh, it might be 3 years."
Yeah, well, and it might just put RAM out of reach for the everyday consumer. I mean, unless you want to pay a big premium to get your hands on some.
Yeah.
So, anyhow, so folks, we're coming up to the news break, so please stay tuned after news. We got a lot more coming for this show, and we'll be talking to you again here in just a few minutes.
You're listening to Tech Talk right here on WDBO 107.3 FM and AM 580. Hey there, and welcome to Tech Talk here on WDBO 107.3 FM and AM 580, Orlando's news and talk. I'm Greg Rhodes here with David Leavitt, president and founder of Refresh Computer Superstore, and technician Adam Littlefield. You can contact the Refresh Computer Superstore by calling their free tech support hotline at 407-478-8200, or if you have any other comments during the show, go ahead and leave an open mic using that WDBO app. You can also check out the website over at refreshcomputers.net or stop it at the Refresh Computer Superstore in Longwood at 820 East State Road 434, just 3.5 miles east of I-4 in Longwood. Store hours are Monday through Saturday, 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. You're listening to the show here on Saturday. It means you still have time to stop by. They'll be open until 7 p.m. today. And now, back to David and Adam.
All right. Thanks, Greg, and thanks, everybody, for listening to Tech Talk with Refresh Computers. Greg, you mentioned our store hours, and I just want to take an opportunity to let everybody know that we will be closed Christmas Day, and we will be closed New Year's Day. So there's only 3 days out of the year, except for Sundays. We're closed every Sunday. But there's only 3 other days throughout the year that we're closed, and that is Thanksgiving Day, Christmas Day, and New Year's Day. So we've always had that schedule since the beginning of the store. It'll be 26 years. Starting next month.
An impressive milestone.
So we've been around quite a while. And, we do appreciate our customers. We appreciate your support and your love. I mean, you look at our Google reviews are just
They've exploded this year.
Exploded, thousands of, over 1,300 now, 1,200, I guess.
Yep.
5-star Google reviews, which is, for a computer store is pretty darn good. And, I think our average score is of around 4.8 out of 5. That's awesome.
That's pretty darn good, like you said, for a computer store that's been around for that long. That's impressive.
And I attribute that to the employees that we have there at Refresh Computers, and so they just do the best job. And I can tell you, I feel so good about making this statement. And because one of them is sitting right here next to me, one of my employees, Adam, and Adam does such a super job in the store, as does all of the employees at Refresh Computers. We don't have a bad one in the bunch, Greg. I mean, they're just all great guys. They all work hard. They all take care of our customers, and and it's just, I'm just beaming with pride about how happy I am that we were able to service your computer needs. So, and if you're looking for a quality refurbished computer or laptop, please check us out. Come on in. You can look at them, touch them, feel them, use them, play with them, get the feel of it. And, we have hundreds and hundreds of computers and laptops there at Refresh Computers Superstore in Longwood, and you can check them all out. And, we have a big screen, big touch screen, right? It's a 65-inch touch screen,
yes.
Right? Right there is a big display in the store. We sold those. We sold the last 2 that we had just a couple weeks ago. But we have one in the store that's a store fixture, right? Yep. So we're not selling that one. But it's touchscreen. You can go up there and you can shop. You can either walk around and look at a lot of the laptops and computers, or you can use that big giant screen right there in the store, and you can sort through, I'm looking for 17-inch laptops. Well, you click on laptop, you touch 17 inches the size, boom, right away. It just shows you all the 17-inch laptops we have in stock. And because it's on our website, it's showing that from our website, which you can do from home too. Mm-hmm. So when you're shopping at home at refreshcomputers.net, you can click on the laptop category, and you'll see all different types of things that you can search by under laptops, like solid state drive size, storage size, RAM size, type of processors, what type of Windows or operating system it has. So you can sort by all the screen size for laptops. you can sort by all these different types of things right there on the website. It makes it so easy. It's a really, really handy shopping tool, and that's why we have that big giant screen in the store. So it just makes it easy for not only the customers, heck, it makes it easier for the techs, for our guys helping customers find stuff, because we have so many in stock, so many different models that we can't even fit them all out in the display area in the store. Yeah. I mean, it's full.
It's probably always full.
Probably 30 different models of laptops out there right now, and probably 80 or 90 different models of desktops out there right now. And there's more in the back,
And that maintains a live inventory too, right?
Yes,
so 99% positive it'll be there in the store if you look at it online.
That's right. And in a rare instance that, once in a while there might be a glitch, but that's very rare. It happens, but it's computer related, so it's going to happen. But when you buy one online, it deducts that quantity from our inventory. So, we we'll pull it as soon as we can from the floor if it's on the floor, because we wouldn't want a customer to pick it up off the floor and go pay for it in the store.
Yeah.
Well, you just bought it online. So we try to act quickly on those and do that. But typically if you see it online, it's in the store. And we do appreciate your shopping with us, or at least giving us a chance, giving us a shot. And, might not have what you're looking for, but I think chances are really good that we do, because we have such a wide variety, different sizes, different types of computers and laptops. It's just amazing.
And if you're listening on Saturday, that means that it is the last shopping weekend before Christmas.
Right.
So this is your last chance to get in the store, find those accessories for stocking stuffers or that new laptop that you've been eyeballing here just before the Christmas holiday.
And what I had the foresight to do is, get all this inventory in as I saw that the price of memory and everything was going up, because even in the refurbished computer business, the prices are going up. They're just going up, up, up. And that's because the memory inside these computers and laptops are getting so much more expensive.
Yeah, and now actually on the end of Windows 10 support, we had that happen back in October. Now we're in December. We're only 2 months out of that, and now we're seeing a scarcity begin on Windows 11 capable computers.
Right.
So it's becoming one of those perfect storms where a OS has dropped and there are thousands and thousands of people needing an upgrade, needing a new computer, and now we're having a hardware shortage that's making it almost near impossible to get an affordable computer.
It's getting there. Yeah. But right now we've been able to hold our prices steady at the store. Why? Because, like I said, we stocked up before the prices got spiked. And so it's there for you. So come on in. Take a look, and one of our guys can help you. We can transfer your files for you. We talk about that all the time. Bring in your old computer, your old laptop, and we can do a data transfer. There's a nominal fee for that, right? It's like $45 or something.
Yeah, $45 for a simple data transfer, $100 if we do a full system clone.
Full system clone, which brings your programs and everything else over.
Everything.
Typically,
yes,
not always 100%. Full clones are kind of funny because
they're the wild card that we have to deal with every time, because we have some that work beautifully. It takes a couple hours. That's it. Then we have others that we really have to take a day's worth of time just to get working right, so we have it out the door.
And typically that happens when you switch from like, say, an HP to a Dell, because the drivers are different. And so remember, a clone is a clone. It's exactly what it sounds like.
Yeah.
It's taking exactly everything on your old drive and putting all that exactly the way it is on the new drive. Well, guess what? If you switch manufacturers, and we do that, the clone still works, but it needs a lot of updates, driver updates and things like that. So it needs to happen.
We've also had ones where we've had computers that upgraded all the way from Windows 7 up to Windows 10, and those clones are near impossible because of just how much is messed up from that upgrade between 7 to 10.
Yeah, it's and we warn you about that ahead of time. So we let you know, heck, we're warning you about it right now, right now on the show, and so it's but I can tell you that if it can be done, we'll get it done for you, because we have the technology, we have the people that know how to do this. And one of the things I love about our store, Adam, is that we don't have any clerks.
No.
There's no clerks. Everybody's a tech.
Everybody's a tech. Everybody knows and can answer pretty much any question that is thrown around there.
And I call them, techs with personality. So that's an important distinction.
Yes.
Because, when we do the interview process for employees that we have to replace, or if we get a new employee, part of that interview process, and you don't know it necessarily when you're being interviewed, but what we're actually doing is doing kind of like a psychological evaluation as well, to make sure that when you talk to our customers, you're more likely to not try to show off in nerd speech.
Right.
We want you to talk to a customer in the way that customers can understand what the heck it is you're talking about, and we don't want somebody that I've seen techs, and I've had techs that worked for me in the past that, not now though, but in the past that, they seem more interested in showing off their technical expertise when the customer don't even care about that. They just want to know that, they care that you're an expert, but they don't want to hear how much of an expert you are. Right. They just want you to take care of their stuff, And so that's the kind of people we hire at Refresh Computers, and Adam, you're certainly fall in that category
thank you.
As everybody else. So basically, a personable person, somebody that's personable.
Computer and tech people so often get that bad rap that they are great with the technology, not so great with the people. So it's so important to be able to have both aspects of that when it comes to a customer-facing position like your technicians. So.
Yeah. And we have a lot of situations, too, where sometimes we do have to just be the bearer of bad news. Sometimes something like data loss, it happens. But I know myself and every one of the guys that we have there, I can trust to be able to lay that kind of news onto anybody and manage from there on. Because it's hard.
It can be. Absolutely.
It is.
It could be. You're right. And so I'm really happy that we're able to take care of you guys, our customers, and that's what keeps us going. Mm-hmm. Not just financially, but mentally, and everything that's involved in doing a business right. You're the reason why, right? You're the reason why we're there. That's why we have the free tech support hotline. Yeah. Right, which is, by the way, 407-478-8200. And we feel, hundreds of calls on that free tech support hotline. Why? Well, because it's a free tech support hotline. Yeah. and you didn't even have to buy from us. I mean, you didn't even have to step foot in the store ever. Just call it. You get a new printer. How many times can you remember buying like a new printer and oh gosh, I can't get the Wi-Fi to connect. I can't get this to connect. I can't do that. And it's like, oh man, I have to call HP tech support.
Good luck with that.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's like, oh gosh, I can't even understand this person as they're talking to me when I'm trying to get the support, and it takes hours, and oh my gosh. And so you're going through all this stuff. You don't have to do that. Just give us a call. We'll help you over the phone. 407-478-8200. And for some very simple things like that, we don't charge you for it. No. We just do it. That's why
we answer questions over the phone half the time. That's what we really do with that hotline, is we just answer questions. We help out with printer installations, just anything we can just generally try to give some information over the phone. And if it's something we can't, we'll just be very clear up front and just say, we're not going to waste time trying to do something that we know is too advanced to dig into over the phone.
And here's some real world caveats to that, right? One is, we're not going to be able to spend hours talking to you on the phone. Right. We're not going to be able to talk about, how your day went, that kind of stuff, even though it's important, I know. But the thing is, we will talk to you about your issue, and it's 10 to 15 minutes. If it gets beyond that, then we're going to ask you to maybe bring it in to the store, because, we can better, if it's going to take us more than 10 or 15 minutes over the phone, then chances are, we need to see it anyway.
Right. It could be a bigger problem that,
And we also need to get to the next customer that needs the free tech support help. And we just can't spend a lot of time while we're giving this, tech advice for free. But, we're happy to do it for, 10 or 15 minutes at a time. And that's pretty much a limit we put on it. So just so you know,
we just like to help. A lot of us there, we just like being helpful.
That's right. So we're coming up on a break here pretty soon. But let's tease a little bit about the next topic we want to talk about real quick, because we'll have a few minutes to talk about it when we come back. And that's Apple. Apple is changing the game again, and actually making their products a little bit more repairable. these days.
They actually are doing way better with that, which we'll get into in the next segment. But yeah, they're definitely doing better. But I wouldn't say so with Siri. That's the interesting part.
They still have some serious issues.
Siri issues.
Boy, get that out.
Say that 5 times fast.
How serious can you be if you get? Never mind.
We'll try to say it 5 times fast when we come back here after the break. You've been listening to Tech Talk here, WDBO 107.3 FM and AM 580. Welcome back to Tech Talk here on WDBO 107.3 FM and AM 580, Orlando's news and talk. I'm Greg Rhodes here with David Leavitt, president and founder of Refresh Computer Superstore, and technician Adam Littlefield. And you can contact the Refresh Computer Superstore at that free tech support hotline, 407-478-8200. You can also check out the website over at refreshcomputers.net. And now back to David and Adam.
All right. Thanks, everybody, for listening to Tech Talk with Refresh Computers. Another reminder that if you missed any part of the show, or maybe you want to recap what we were talking about today, we had a lot of interesting conversations today. And you can go to the website at refreshcomputers.net, click on that podcast link there at the top of the page, and you can hear this show in its entirety. You can also subscribe to our email notifications by going to the bottom of any page at refreshcomputers.net, put in your email address and click subscribe, and boom, you're subscribed just like that. We don't ask for a whole ton of information, just your email, because that's all we really need in order to send you an email to let you know when the show is released, the podcast show version of the show is released. And we also will send you a weekly, every Monday morning, usually around 7 a.m., an email that will have the week specials. You'll be the first to know about what's going on at the store as far as, what our sale prices are for that week on whole bunch of different products. So, we talked a lot about, AI stuff, memory shortage stuff, and we talked about Apple in this the past segment, and we want to finish up with them and what they're doing, making their products more repairable. And Greg, you had asked during the break about, do you think this has something to do with the EU, right?
Right.
Mandating
right to repair mandate that they started back in 2024. So,
and I've always complained about Apple for probably a decade now. Is that they are absolutely the worst manufacturer on the planet when it comes to repairability.
Yes,
they just they make it so difficult to repair their products. But now they're actually putting little regular screws right inside their iPhones.
Phillips and flatheads now are the main screws inside of an iPhone. Apple used to use the proprietary pentalobe screw. It's a little it's like a star-shaped head on it. That used to be what would lock down the outside of an iPhone, and that's a very hard screwdriver to get a hold of. You have to buy a very specific driver kit for it.
Yes.
So they used to have that screw everywhere inside of their devices. So you have to buy this pretty hard to come by and unfortunately expensive because of that screwdriver. Now they've knocked it down to really just Phillips and flatheads.
So that makes it better for the repair facilities, people that work on iPhones. And I'll throw this out there: we do not work on iPhones at Refresh Computers, we don't work on iPads.
No, we work on MacBooks though.
We do work on MacBooks, and so yeah, and I think. Gosh, I feel bad for these people, but we had a 4-star review, and I guess I'm happy we got a 4-star for this one. It took us an hour to get there just to find out they don't work on iPads. It's like, we have a phone number too.
Yep, give us a call. Got any questions like that, make sure.
And I'm sorry.
Unfortunately, a lot of Google results do sometimes point to us.
Sometimes
for those kinds of repairs that we don't do, and I actually had somebody come in asking if we had their Allstate insurance appointment, and I was very confused by that. And he was showing me his email, and he had an Allstate insurance plan that he bought on something through eBay, and it was a phone or something, and contacted eBay, contacted Allstate, and they said, okay, we opened a claim with Refresh Computers, go there. We had no word about it, nothing, and I told him, I was like, well, we don't work on phones. We've never worked on phones. I have no idea. Why they pointed you to us?
And we don't
either.
We don't Yeah, and we don't do warranty work for things you bought on eBay or Amazon or anything else. We only do warranty work on things that you bought from us, by the way.
It was a very odd interaction. I've never seen something like that before.
Oh, my gosh. Well, folks, that's all we're going to have time for today. Really appreciate you listening to this edition of Tech Talk with Refresh Computers. I'll get it out there. Have a very Merry Christmas, and we'll be talking to you again next week with our show concerning the year in tech. We'll do a tech review. So we'll talk to you again then.